Robert Heffernan with EndoTech, contributor to the Pareto Network. This is Blockchain Vitals. It's our daily show talking cryptocurrencies, blockchain assets. I'm a master endotechnician, firmly in the matrix when talking cryptos, trading cryptos. Please follow us on Twitter, right, at EndoTech_IO and at HFR from the floor. You know, I spent nearly 30 years in Chicago trading many things. You know, I was like Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man. I've been in most pits that traded anything. And now still doing that, not on the floor, but somewhat matrix-ish. And also keeping an eye on these cryptos and trading them. Let's do the rounds. We could talk about it. Doing the rounds is my chance to talk cryptos. Things that are in the news, things that are catching my eyes. Fairly slow news going on here. One article that did catch my eye was Cardano ADA on the Blockchain Vitals sheet. Cardano's founder, Charles Hoskins, explains why ADA's new smart contract tools are a boon for fintech. You know, first of all, let me just explain to you, I am no scientist. I am no cryptographer. I have very little ability to interact with technology. The fact that I'm actually beaming this to you beats odds that even the London bookmakers couldn't even have imagined. So please bear with me. But I understand how this technology is going to change things when you talk about escrows and having the blockchain and smart contracts make it really cut and dry and clean and simple. We escrow money for a transaction. I produce A, the money gets released because you say you did it. And if you didn't do it, I say you didn't do it. And then party 3 comes in this Cardano tool and decides whether A or B is correct and where the money should go. Cut and dry, clean and simple. And that's what the blockchain really can revolutionize. So many things. I talked about it last night with State Farm and how many moving parts there are in the insurance business. And if you can make things that make all of those things seamless, easier, more transparent, more equitable, fairer for everybody that thinks it's a fair setup and a fair shake wants to be involved in the network, how can that be bad? You know, not even bad. How can that not take root and flourish? And even though these prices got crushed over the last year, I am still incredibly bullish on the technology and incredibly bullish on fundamentally certain coins are going to just rebound incredibly well. And the whole idea here is, and what we have preached throughout this entire year, is that the fundamental story can be great, but if the technical story does not match with the fundamental story, you better side on the air of the technicals, because the market can stay fundamentally dislodged from the true fundamentals of anything way longer than you can stay solvent. And you will see this, I guarantee you will see this in so many coins that rebound that people had, and then they had a lot of profit in it, and then they had a ton of losses, and they puked on the lows. And wow, you know, this time next year, they're making new all-time highs. And the fact is, they didn't pay attention to the technicals. They just believed the fundamental story to the grave, or until their point of pain got to them, and they had to pitch. And then the technicals work their way out, and they start to align with the fundamentals, and bang, you're right back into positive price action. Now, we're going to take the vitals here, so let's do that. And anything else I wanted to cover here? Oh, yeah, there is. Hold on a second, because we're going to talk about this. One thing that the technicals give you is an ability to gauge the market, technically speaking, well, what's the potentials in the market. And the potentials on a 4-hour are different than the potentials on an 8-hour, which are different than the potentials on a daily, weekly. And then you got to go out to the monthly. there's certain things that I look at as we roll here, currencies that have been trading for years and years and years. I actually look at these things on an annual basis. What's the yearly chart look like? And that's how far I will go out on some of my analysis on these things. These cryptos obviously don't have near enough data for you to do a year analysis. But I almost sounded like a doctor there. A year analysis. Anyway, this is what came up today on the Twittersphere. I love the Twittersphere. And this is a great infographic. And thank you, Brotosh Moku, I guess. Love this graphic, though. 2001, Bitcoin's performance in January. 64% in 11, and 12, 13%, and 13, 48%. 6%, 14, down 32 and 15, down 15 and 16, down 8 and 17, down 26 and 18. What about 2019? Well, if you're a trend player, the last 4 years have been down in January. But the price action has been so brutal. In the end of 2018, this will be very interesting to watch. Now, all I'm telling you that is when we talked about the weeklies and the potentials on the weeklies, and didn't even cover this yet, and I will cover it in the second half of the Vitals section, because you need to be an EndoTech subscriber or a Pareto token holder to get all of the trading content, all of the actionable trading content. I'm going to give you some of the actionable trading content because I'm a nice guy. But all of that actionable trading content, you need an EndoTech subscription or be a Pareto token holder in order to get that. Anyway, I have my views on what the potentials are in the market, and we will go into that into the Vitals section. So I'm going to come back to this in the Vitals. 2019, what do I think? Well, it all depends on the momentum, all right? You have to mind the mo. And I got to tell you, this is where the prop bet's going to come back in. We're going to do one January 1st to mirror this, a prop bet on Bitcoin plus or minus for the month of January. Anyway, let's take the Vitals and talk about some of the actionable trading content. And to do that, I've been spending this week talking about BNB, the Binance coin. And we came out of lower momentum two days ago, right? And a nice little pop-up here if you're minding the mo. And BNB right now trading $4.93. And they made a high yesterday of $5.34. So actually took out that center line for a while. Not able to close above the center line, though. But definitely in healthy territory here. And for me, I like being long BNB as long as we can stay above that lower momentum level. Do not want to see it repenetrate that. Definitely don't want to see it close back in lower momentum on the daily. And I don't mind being long here because how about this risk reward, which I absolutely love in this thing? BNB right now trading $4.93, so you're risking about 30 cents to 4.66, a close below there. But the upside's got tons of room, right? Up to 6.56, the uppermost collar. Obviously, we need to close above the center line and then close above up momentum in order to get there. But this thing has shown its ability to really move when it decides to. So I wouldn't be surprised on strength that they couldn't go in a session or two to that upmo collar at 6.56. That's how I like seeing these things. We call that a coast-to-coast trade when you go from one extreme to the other. Now, they hit the lower momentum collar back on the 7th of December. And we've been churning fairly sideways, but with a little bit of upward bias now out of lower mo. And we're going to see that's the case here in a bunch of these things as we've traded sideways toward these momentum levels. Question is, can we close in up momentum on the rest of these majors? And I'm going to talk about that as soon as I say goodbye to the YouTube crowd, which is right now. And let's take a look at the rest of the Blockchain Vital sheet. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube. And let's check out the rest of the sheet.